Hey guys, so we are a few days into the new month, the month of October, and I thought now is the perfect time for me to share with you where my money went in the month of September, and also how much I actually brought in, and how I split this money across all of my expenses. I do have my trusted laptop here on the right because it is charging. Your girl forgot to charge, but I need to do a screen record, so we're just gonna have it perched here as I talk to you about where my money went in the month of September. So without further ado, let us begin. If you're new to my channel, hi, welcome. My name is Miranda, and on this channel I share everything personal finance. I cover budgeting, saving, and investing. If these topics of interest to you, then please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get in today's video. So this is the September budget recap with me video where I will be going through my budget. So what did I project? What did I bring in? Where did I send my money? And for me personally, I practice what is known as a zero-based budget, although my tracker right now won't be showing that exactly, and I'll explain what I mean by that. But essentially, zero-based budgeting is making sure every single penny, pence, pound, shilling, whatever your currency is accounted for. So even though I have leftover money, that is money that's accounted for, and personally for me, I account for it in the new month's budget. So what I have left over in September is actually what I'm using. I have used already in the month of October for the bills that come out in the first few days of October. So that's how I do it, but I do zero-based budgeting. I also follow the 50-30-20 rule of budgeting. So 50% towards my want, 30% towards my 50% towards my needs, 30% towards my wants, and then 20% towards savings and debt. Now, even though I follow this principle, I don't always follow it like that. I try to be under 50% for my needs. So the needs are your four walls, so your rent or mortgage, your water bill, your taxes, all of that good jazz. I try to make sure that that is less than 50%. Then the 30% portion, which is your wants. So these things could be traveling, this could be your entertainment, all of that good jazz, so the things that you want in your life. I also try to make sure that that is at least less than 20%. It doesn't always work, as I'll show you in my September budget, but that's what I normally aim for. And then for my savings and debt, I actually try to bring this to closer to 50%. So 30% is what I normally aim for, but if I can do 50%, I do. But ever since I took out a personal loan, I don't often reach that target, but that's also a discussion for another day. So now that I have given you a flavor of how I normally budget, I have a number of budget videos on this channel where I've discussed how I budget. We're now going to move over to my computer, and I'll start walking you through my tracker, which you can purchase for yourself on my Etsy shop. I always have the link in the description bar below. So let me bring my laptop over to me a little bit, and I will start walking you through my budget. So I'll start the screen record now, and as you can see on the screen right now, we are looking at the budget for the month of September, and my left to spend is just under 2,800, but I will break all of this down in a moment. So if we start off first with the income summary. Now, I had a comment on, I think, my October budget video asking why I actually don't disclose like my sources of income. I used to. I don't find value anymore for myself to show this, but I don't show it for privacy reasons. But today's video, as I'm recapping, I was like, okay, I will show you. Not that I'll continue doing this, but if I feel like it, I'll show. If I don't, then I won't show. But essentially, I have my paycheck. I'm a project manager. I work in the pharmaceutical industry. So I have a 9-to-5 and I get paid from that. Then I have 3 rental properties, which I've spoken about on this channel many a time. I get rental income from that. Then I also make sure to tag when I use savings, because people often ignore this part. I always add savings as an income for that month. Okay, so I always tag what savings did I use. I don't budget for savings, as you will see grayed out sections on my budget tracker. I don't often include in my planning the savings that I intend to use, unless I have like an annual bill coming due. I know that I have to spend some money for my savings in a new month. That's the only time I actually budget, include the savings used in my budgeting, but otherwise I often do not. Other income, so this is from my side hustles. I have various side hustles. This is from redeeming coupons, this is from redeeming points. All of that is combined into other income. And then my buffer, this is money that was left over from the previous months. As you can see here, the money that I have left over in September is what I'm sending over to October, and I include that. I don't have it budgeted out at the beginning of the month. I just include it in the actuals, because often I do not know how much I'll be left over. I often estimate between 2,500, but sometimes it's less than that. So I always try to just put it in the actuals and never in the expected. So for the month of September, I was expecting to work with 6,100, and I must reiterate, I often budget the least that I can expect from all my sources of income. Like I said, I don't often include savings unless I know I've got a bill, and I also don't include anything for income, other income, as well as for buffer, because I never really know how much I'm going to be bringing in, so I never include that. So this essentially is just money coming from my 4 sources of income, but also for the month of September from my savings, because I did expect, I already knew what I needed to pay for from my savings. So that's where this is how I do things. So I expected to bring in 6,100. It was actually double that. I brought in over 12,000 pounds, and I'm going to show you exactly where that money went. So if we start off first with the main bills, here at the top you see the chart where I have broken it down into percentages. My mortgage obviously will always have the biggest portion of my income, because that's the highest bill I personally have, and I think it's the same for a lot of people. So for the month of September, I sent 900 pounds towards my mortgage. Now my mortgage is 871 pounds or thereabouts, but I pay an additional 28 pounds to round it up to 900 pounds, because I always try to pay a little bit extra towards my mortgage. There was a period in my life, I think last year and the year before, where I used to actively send a little bit more money towards my mortgage, but then obviously my finances have changed, my life has changed, so I am not actively doing this, but most months I aim to send at least 900 pounds. So this is just a tiny percentage. 28 pounds is what I'm sending extra towards my mortgage, which is reducing the life of my mortgage every single time I make this repayment. So I'm always looking to do that. Even if it's little, I still aim to do that. So about 55% of what I had budgeted for my main bills actually went towards my mortgage. So in the month of September, I had my water bill come through. This is why this is in red, because I pay for my water bill twice a year. I pay in March and in September. So the September bill, I thought it was going to be 135. It came to just under that, which is great. Combined utilities is in red, because my fixed rate ended at the end of July, and we were trying to figure out how much it was going to be for me every single month moving on from that. But then I thought it was going to be 125, but this has actually changed again. So you will see that for October, it's even lower than this, which is great for me. So I paid 123 pounds. Income protection, I changed my provider in August into September. So there was no payment due in September, but I have already paid it for the month of October. And then the rest of things like life insurance, I'm part of a 5 a.m. club where I pay membership for that. My mobile phone as well as my internet, same as normal, nothing really different here. I think the only thing that is different is the fact that for my second mobile, they didn't actually charge me. And today, as I was looking at my October budget, I saw that they have they have charged me double what I normally pay, so I'm gonna have to look into that. But I think the amount covers both September and October. But yeah, for the month of September I didn't have to pay. And then I restarted my Peloton membership in the month of September, so that is back to being £39, so just under £40. And this is something that has been included in my budgets for the rest of the year. So I paid that, and it's in red because it was added after I had already set the budget for September. So I normally budget, it used to be under 1,600. Now we're trying to say under 1,650 is what I budget for my main bills, and I spent a little bit over because of my Peloton addition here. So overall it is as expected. I'm not mad about this. I'm actually happy with how I was able to spend my money. The next part I'm going to move on to is my rental bills. So I have 3 rental properties. I earn rental income from these properties. I have these properties under management, so I have an estate agent that actually manages my properties because I don't want to manage them myself, and I pay a fee for that. I think it's 10% for each of my properties, so they take out the money before they send me the rest, and with the rest, this is how I then break it all down. So I have the mortgages, so I have 1, 2, 3 mortgages that I pay for. So I paid for all of those mortgages. For the 3rd rental property, September was the first month where I made a payment. I estimated it to be around £800, but it came to just under $730, which was great. My bills and contents insurance did not come out for September because we set it up a little bit later than I liked. So the first payment is actually going to be in October, so I didn't have to pay for that. And then my rental life insurance, I spoke about this, I believe, in the August budget or September planning video. I can't remember, but I changed my provider for this. I used to have 2, but then when I was getting the 3rd rental property, I spoke to my mortgage advisor and financial advisor. I was like, listen, I'm paying quite a bit on these properties. Is there a way I can find one policy that will cover all of the properties into one? And he's like, yes, there is, and there's a great deal, and it will save you at least £30. I was like, I'll take it. Do you know why? Because that £30 can afford one of my bills. It is also the budget that I set for my coffee. So I'm definitely saving that money, and that's exactly what I did. So estimate, I always budget more than what I actually am supposed to pay. So I budget $275, but it's actually $271.93. So this is how I always do for all of my budget. I always budget more than the actual amount that I need to pay, because that's how you also create a buffer in your account. So I thought I was going to spend $1,905. I ended up spending $1,791.73 on my rental properties. So if you look at this, I will be spending more on my rental properties than I am spending on my own property, which, to be honest, I don't mind it too much, because my rental properties are self-sufficient. And by that, I mean, once the management fees are taken out, what I'm left for each property is enough to pay for each mortgage, its insurance, and all of that good jazz. And I'm still left with a profit. So I'm not mad about that whatsoever. So now I'm going to move over to the biggest portion of my spending. And this is my variable expenses, because you guys just know that when it comes to my variable expenses, it is something else. And in the month of September, I went crazy, a little bit crazy, and let me share exactly why. So in the month of September, my annual car insurance came due. So I always try to pay my car insurance annually, and I was projecting that I was going to spend at least £400 towards renewing my car insurance. And thankfully, let me bring this down a bit because I'm a bit down. Yeah. So it ended up being £353.55. And this is because my current insurance provider actually gave me this quote, because every single year I go onto comparison websites. Top Cashback is my favorite. I go onto these comparison websites and I have a look at what deals are out there, but you cannot believe what has been going on with these car insurers. Like, instead of the insurance quotes going down, I was getting quotes like 510, 600 pounds. I'm like, child, I was on like 370 last year. What is with this jump of 510 pounds for my insurance? I was absolutely gobsmacked. This is the first time in a long time that I decided to stay with my current insurance provider, because they are actually giving me a better deal than the ones that I'm seeing on the market. So I was actually wholly surprised that when I got the quote from my current provider, that they had reduced my annual car insurance by 20 pounds. So I was like, okay, all right, policy expert, here we go. I'll stick with you for another year. So that's where that went. And yeah, so I ended up paying less than I actually thought. My groceries, I budgeted 150. Your girl went crazy. But also, to be honest, this is not too bad for me. I used to budget normally 250, then I'd been bringing it down slowly, but obviously the month of September showed me that maybe, just maybe, I might need to increase it, but I'll probably increase it in the new year. December budget would definitely have more on the groceries than normally, because it's, you know, the festive period, but I actually spent a lot more because I had a lot more people at my house in the month of September, so that is why. Fuel, I was surprised that I only spent 88 pounds, which obviously I'm not mad about, because, you know, if I can save on fuel, I'm happy. So yeah, and then socializing, I'm a social bird, okay? And I was out every single week in the month of September, every single week. So yeah, dining out over. And this one I actually fell into my own trap, because I was trying to curb myself to 50 pounds, but yesterday, like, I did a takeaway, and it's just for me, not for, you know, anybody else, just for me, and it came to 20 pounds. So yeah, I fell into my own trap, and I have a goal of 4 takeaways a month. So if it's costing me 20 pounds a week, it's not gonna cut it. And the last one is the one that actually tipped me over in any case. Shopping, I have no excuse. I felt like treating myself, and I did. So yeah, I did. Transportation, now this one surprised me a little bit, but it happens. Sometimes it happens. I travel to London quite a bit. I spend quite a lot of money, and I think this one is because I decided for my trip to London, instead of just taking the normal train, I went first class, because why not? That's why this is high, but there we are. Housing also surprised me, because I normally just budget 25 pounds. Like, I want some candles, I want a few things. I don't include things like toilet paper or stuff like that, because I just throw that into my groceries most of the time. But for the month of September, we just went all out. Now, personal care. Oh my god, you guys, personal care is one where, again, it's personal care. And the biggest expense for my personal care came from the fact that I bought myself a designer bag, and it came to like 300 and almost 375, yes, almost 400 pounds. So that is why my personal care is high. But I also got my nails done. I had a manicure, pedicure, I had a massage. I had a lot of things in September. So spending 500 pounds on myself is not the end of the world, but normally this money will go to my savings. But there are times when you have to live your life, and I'm glad I did live my life. So let's just leave it at that. Travel, I did travel to Brussels with one of my good friends, so that was definitely going to be an expense or two. Then for subscriptions, this one surprised me, because I don't know, I think I ended up buying a couple of apps, and I always put all the apps and subscriptions here. So this is why this went over, because normally all my subscriptions are under 35 pounds, unless it's the month when I get the wine, because I have a wine subscription, but September wasn't it. So in any case, that happened. Personal growth. So personal growth for me is like buying things, like books, podcasts, things like that, you know. That's what, but I don't know why I went over, but it's only by £3, so I'm not mad about that. Coffee, yo, I went to the coffee shop a little bit more in the month of September than I normally do. I work from home and I have been for the last 5 years. There are times when my house is just not it and I want to work in a coffee shop. So I try to work from a coffee shop once a week just to change up the environment. And in the month of September, I actually ended up traveling to the next town to meet up with a friend of mine because she works from home as well. So we kind of decided to find a coffee shop near her town and we worked together. So that was actually great. This is why I went over, because this was just not coffee for myself, but for my friend as well. And I must say that it wasn't just like buying Starbucks coffee. This was, I buy a Starbucks coffee maybe with a croissant or cinnamon bun and something like that. So it's not just coffee, it's coffee sometimes with an accompaniment. So that's why I went over. Gifts is in green because I didn't budget anything, but I was able to give the people in my life, so that made me happy. So I'm not mad about that. Miscellaneous, well, wherever I can't allocate somewhere, I try to put as miscellaneous. And for the month of September, I only had £2 as miscellaneous, which was a big mistake because I ended up spending £42, 14 pence, but there we are. Tithe and giving. Those of you who've been on my channel for a while know that I'm a Christian. I believe in giving and tithing, so I was able to send at least £300 towards that, and it's in green because it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. And then for my business, so these are expenses for my blog, for my YouTube and all of that good jazz, that came to £167 and 26 pence. This is actually higher than normal. 90% of the time my expenses, my business expenses, are under £100. So this is unusual because I've hired an SEO expert, that's why. Then car expenses. So I think I'd spoken about this in August or in the September budget that I need to replace 2 tires for my car and also wheel realignment. They did that and that came to £284 and 28 pence. So yeah, I expected this. In any case, this is why I put money from my savings. I was able to do that. An expense that I did not actually foresee was the lawyers. So when I finished my purchase of the rental property at the end of August, they had given me a draft completion statement. So I looked at the amount, I sent them all of the money. I thought that was it, but then they emailed me back and said, oh, after paying everything, we realized that we are short $495 for all of your expenses, so please send us this money. So this was very unexpected, but thankfully I have sinking funds, so I ended up just raiding one of my sinking funds, not specifically dedicated to properties, but it ended up being used for that because that was the money I wanted to use. And honestly, I didn't want to touch my emergency fund. So for the lawyers, I ended up spending $495. So all in all, I ended up sending over £4,000 towards my variable expenses. You can see exactly where all of that money went, but personal care was over £500. Am I mad about this? Not really, no. I treated myself because I wanted to and it made me happy, so I'm not mad about that. The lawyer fees were a surprise, but who cares? Car expenses, this is why I have a car sinking fund, but again, because of the car insurance, it just all hit at the same time, so that even though you wouldn't have been able to tell this, you know, without me telling you, but I've just had a whole ass mental breakdown because I realized that after 20+ minutes of recording, my camera cut out and it just died on me, and I was just like, I'm not doing this again. Like, I am not going back and redoing the 20 minutes. So we're just going to continue from where my camera rudely cut me off and just progress with this video so that I can finish telling you about where my money went and all of that good jazz. You won't be able to know this, but in that time of having a mental breakdown, I went and I did my laundry, I walked around the house, and I got some fresh air. So I am back at it again. I'm cold, I'm back at it. I'm just going to finish this video. So I was talking about my variable expenses and how it was quite surprising that I've been able to spend over £4,000, but that is life, and you know, it happens. There are months like this where you spend way more than you anticipated, but I never spend more than what I have. So I brought in double what I thought I was going to spend. I was going to bring in. So that allowed me a little bit of room to be able to spend as much as I did. This is not to say this is how I normally spend. September was an exceptional month personally. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move over to the next part of this video that is on savings and investments, and then also debt summary. So let's start the screen record now. And yeah, so if we look at my savings and my investments, when it comes to my savings and my investments, I have my ISA, I have a SIP, I have Plum investment, I have my emergency fund, vacation fund, I have my sinking fund, so like car, home insurance, all of that. I just group it all into sinking fund, and then I've got my rental emergency fund. So for my ISA, I budgeted 200. That's exactly how much I sent. This is a direct debit from my account every single month. My SIP, I budgeted 100, and that's exactly how much I sent. And that's exactly how I've set it up as well as a direct debit. Then for Plum, this is an app that is connected to my bank, and it rounds up my spending. So I don't have a specific amount that I send towards my Plum investment. So it invests and saves for me at the same time. So every week it looks at my spending, rounds up all of my spending, then puts that money, takes it out of my account and saves it in the app for me. And if I want to access it, if it's just in my normal pot, my normal savings pot, I can get it back in the same day. If it has been put into one of my savings, easy savings account, then it may take until the next day for me to get that money. And then if it's money that has actually gone into my investments, if you invest, you know that it's not always possible to get the money the same day if you were to sell your stocks and what have you. So that money is money which I don't even think about at all. So in the month of September, like I said, I don't budget for it, so I never budgeted anything for it, but I was able to save and invest £218.10. Emergency fund, I wanted to send at least £100, even though my goal was actually £1,000, but this was £1,000 where I was like, 900 of it is gonna have to come from somewhere. And thankfully I was able to actually send more than £100. I sent £356.68. Now I must say, even though my goal was 1,000 and I was able to send £1,000, here I'm only documenting what actually passed through my account. So money that was returned to me, I didn't include it in here, and I just sent it straight to the savings. So that's how I was able to fulfill my goal. Then for vacation, I've done a lot of traveling, and also my 52 envelope savings challenge, sorry, my 100 envelope savings challenge helped me to save £5,050, and I was able to accomplish that in August. So I've been using that money for most of my travels. And then sinking funds, I didn't budget anything, but I was able to send £30. And then rental sinking fund, this was on pause because I really just wanted to finish, well, at least reach my target for my own personal emergency fund. So I thought I was going to send about £400 towards my saving and investing, and I was able to send just over £900. So that is what I did for my savings and my investments. I move now to debt. So I do have a personal loan with Zopa, and I pay just under £700 every single month. That's how much I repay. So it's actually under £650, but I always like to pay more. Like I always budget more, I also pay more. So my goal is to send at least £700 every single month. So I was able to do that. I have an advanced loan on my mortgage that I took out to buy my third rental property. So that was actually I budgeted £400, even though it's like £350, £380. So I'm glad that I was able to send £400. And then I have included in debt section my mobile device. So I've said this many times that my mobile provider, Vodafone, in the past, they just has to have your line rental on the device as one amount, but now they do the device separately, as if you've taken out a loan to buy that device, and then the line rental separately. So if I can now clear the the device loan quickly, I would do that, and that's why I'm tracking it under debt. So every single month I send at least £50, so the minimum is just £30 or less, and then the rest is additional that I add. So for me personally, I save £50 to send. So I budget 1,150, and I was able to send just about what I budgeted. So if we actually go down to the breakdown of my expenses, you notice that for my main bills, I sent 13%. Then for my rental bills, I sent 15%. Variable expenses, I sent 33%. This is way, way higher than I normally spend. But if we look at my 50, 30, 20 principle, I am within range of the wants, so a lot of my wants there. Savings and investment, I sent a measly 7%, and then to debt I sent 9%. So it could be better, but then again, like I said, I haven't spent the entire 12,000 that I brought in. I spent 9,000, over 9,500, which is 77% of my overall income. The rest of the income that I have saved, I have in the account, I moved over to next month's bills. So this is the money that I will be sending towards my October bills, and I must say it's been used up already for all of the October bills that I have. So this is how I was able to spend my money in the month of September. September was a very, very busy month for me personally. The first weekend I had somebody's bridal shower that I attended, so that cost money, right? Then the second weekend I had 2 birthdays where we celebrated in London. London is an expensive city, so that cost money. And like I said, in why my travel was expensive, because I actually bought first class ticket from Oxford to London, which came up to about £90. So that was actually expensive, right? So that brought my transportation bill higher than it normally is. Then the third weekend in September, I traveled abroad with a friend. That costs money. Although we had already paid for the Eurostar into Belgium, we still had to get into London to catch our Eurostar. We still had to buy food. We still had to pay for our accommodation, and I cash flowed that. So that cost me money. And then the fourth weekend in September was the first weekend where I decided to just rest. I had planned to meet up with my mom, but since my mom was at my house for her birthday, I just treated my mom. So again, that costs money. But again, everything we do, I often laugh and I say to my friends that me going outside costs me money. Okay, more than it does me staying at home. Yes, I can order things. Yes, I can do what have you online. But when I step outside, it costs me money. It costs me money to just breathe outside. So you'll be catching your girl a lot at home this month. Although the month of October is also shaping up to be a busy one, expensive and busy, but I don't think it'll be to the extremes that the month of September was. But I'm super excited to see how I'm going to spend the last 3 months of the year. I've got a lot of plans that I'm excited to share with you guys on the channel. But for now, this is how I spent my money in the month of September. Check out this video to see how I budgeting for the month of October, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.